I am crying as I narrate my past. A lot more had to be said, but I shake myself out of my memory trip. The chai has gone cold. I drink it up quickly. Krishna is sitting quietly, listening. That is what I love about him. He never seems to judge, even with his eyes. What about you, Krishna? How was your father like? Krishna has a strange look on his face as he considers my question. It seems to me he is reaching into a trove of memories that he has heaped in a dusty, forgotten corner. My father was passionate about sweets, he says finally. My father started his business selling jalebis on the roadside and made it into the most successful sweet shop in town. He called it Rajashri Mithai after my mother. I am curious about the journeys of this gentle tea seller of Kedarnath, who knew so much, spoke so little, and left only the softest of footprints on the places he trod. I am happy that Krishna is opening up about his life journeys now. My father had only two loves, his family and his sweet shop. My brothers were older than me by 10 and 12 years. They started working in the sweet shop soon after their schooling. My brothers were good with business. With their help, my father expanded the Rajashri Sweets and built more branches. My brothers were married and had kids. We all lived together in this big home that my father had built in the middle of town. People were coming from all over to get Rajashri Sweets. Money was pouring in. I was the odd one out in the family. I did not have a mind for business, and I was not street smart. Right from my childhood, poetry and philosophy held a bigger sway than money. I don't know why. Perhaps I took after my mother. Life was good. My brothers and sisters-in-law were kind to me. And then my mother died. I was about 17 at that time. After her passing, my father was a changed man. He was lost, angry, bitter. My mother had taken care of his every need from the moment he woke up to the minute he went to sleep. She was his safe place, his shelter from the vagaries of business. Without her, even his business began to suffer. He started being unreasonable with people, unkind to even those who had worked closely with him for a long time. That behavior extended into our home as well. Every day at home there were bitter fights and accusations. Whenever my brothers brought up the idea of letting them run the business, he would run into a massive rage and accuse them of trying to steal his legacy. The way they were being treated made my sisters-in-law angry as well. Slowly, my father was breaking up the wonderful castle he had built, and he did not even know it. We lived in a divided mansion, my father with his illusion of control on one side, and my brothers and their wives on the other. Sometimes the unkindest things are done with love. I was the only person in the family that did not care about money, which is why my father trusted me to talk about his suspicions about my brothers. No amount of convincing from my end changed his view that people were out to get his wealth. This singled-out trust began to irk my brothers and my sisters-in-law, and it began to show in the way they were treating me. My father's health began to deteriorate as well, and he became bedridden. Even while my brothers ran the business, my father was still very much in control. The final blow came 2 years after my mother's death. My father called us all to his room, and with a lawyer present, announced that all his wealth, including his shops and the home we lived in, would be inherited by me after him. I was shocked, and so was everyone present. It turned out that my father had set up a mole within our home. This person, I never found out who it was, had let my father know that my sisters-in-law were discussing privately that they were eager for my father to die so they could move on. No amount of my pleading to change his mind helped. My brothers walked out of the business and our home that very day. My brothers and my sisters-in-law surmised that I was the mole. After all, I was the one who spoke to my father the most, and I had succeeded in inheriting my father's wealth.